Here we see an justification from the TAMBIS ontology that entails anion is unsatisfiable. So anion is a subclass of nothing. There's quite a lot of axioms in it, and they interplay in a non-trivial way. So let's ask for a justification-oriented proof for this justification and the entailment. So here's our proof, here's our original entailment. Anion is unsatisfiable. Anion is a subclass of nothing, in other words. And let's have a look at this. We get a high-level summary. So here we see anion is a subclass of things that participate in some hydrolysis, and hydrolysis is a subclass of things that are related to some proteosis, and proteosis is a subclass of things that catalyze some peptide. However, peptide is unsatisfiable, which means this ripples back to make anion unsatisfiable. We'll just go straight to this unsatisfiability because this will point us towards the root cause. So here we have peptides unsatisfiable. Why is this the case? Because peptide is part of some protein, and in this case protein is unsatisfiable. Let's find out why protein is unsatisfiable. Because protein is a subclass of gene product. Gene product is a subclass of DNA, and DNA is disjoint with protein. Okay, let's start to explore this. Well, that's just coming from a simple axiom, asserted axiom. Gene product is equivalent to protein, and similarly, gene product subclass of DNA comes from our asserted axiom. DNA is equivalent to gene protein. Remember, axioms with triangles next to them are lemmas, automatically derived by the framework. Why is DNA disjoint with protein? Well, because we've asserted that protein is disjoint with RNA, and we entail that DNA is a subclass of RNA, so DNA must be disjoint with protein. Why is DNA a subclass of RNA? Well, if we look here, we see that DNA is a macromolecular compound. It's also a polymer of something, and it's also a polymer of onideoxyribonucleotide. And basically, this entails here, through this axiom, macromolecular compound and polymer of something, and polymer of onideoxyribonucleotide is a subclass of RNA. So these axioms here, these three here, all derive from the same axiom. And this one comes from the fact that we've asserted deoxyribonucleotide is a subclass of nucleotide, and also we have a lemma here, macromolecular compound and polymer of some ribonucleotide, and polymer of only ribonucleotide is a subclass of RNA. And this comes from an asserted equivalent classes axiom in our ontology. So you can see here it focuses us straight down to the roots. We can go back and we can just ask why peptide has parts of protein. Well, this is because of this axiom, asserted axiom. Peptide is equivalent to part of only protein and part of min one thing, so it is part of some protein. Why does proteosis catalyze some peptide? Because proteosis catalyzes some multi-stranded peptide, or it catalyzes some single-stranded peptide. In either case, a single-stranded peptide is a peptide, and a multi-stranded peptide is a peptide. These things aren't asserted, they're just lemmas, remember, but they come from these axioms here in our ontology. And this one, proteosis, subclass of catalyzes some multi-stranded peptide or catalyzes some single-stranded peptide, comes from proteosis equivalent to catalyzes some multi-stranded peptide. So you can see in this case, the justification-oriented proof really allows us to drill down and come towards the root cause of why something is unsatisfiable. And it all boils down to protein being unsatisfiable. And then we can examine the axioms from here, following the path of lemmas.